Hello, my friends. It's joyous to be with you. I hope you're safe and well. What's the weather like with you? We've got fairly impressive snow, and it seems to be the only topic of conversation. So I hope if you have to be out in it, that you're safe, and that if you can stay in and stay as safe as possible, that you can do that too. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm Dr. Rebecca, the Life Joy Coach and author, and I help people transform the burnt out areas of their life into more balance and be more joyous, more confident, and lead more rich and powerful lives. So tell me where you are, tell me how you are. Sometimes I can't see the comments, but if you're here, that would be wonderful. I don't know if you can see, I've got paint on my fingers there. Been doing a little bit of adventuring with decorating, which is sort of, I said to a client today, sometimes I start craft things and they never work out very well. I haven't had the best of successes with that this morning, but I've had two wonderful clients and it was far better to be with them than succeed with that. I have a hierarchy of joy there. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the Sunshine Study. I love golden yellow. I love sunflowers because sunflowers are tall, they are golden, and they seek the light. And they hold one another up in the field together when the gales hit them. So, what have I got to tell you today? Well, I thought we'd talk about something that is a big energy zapper in a lot of our lives, and that is clutter. And I've been quite obsessed with decluttering and some level of minimalism, although obviously this study doesn't look like it with my lovely wall, but simple, plain, navigable space within your home, I think is immensely important to your energy. And I learnt this because I spent many years in a tiny golden yellow, same colour as this, bedroom unwell. And the energy it took me to get dressed, get washed, even function at the most basic level was excruciatingly low. Now here's the interesting thing. I couldn't waste time navigating around unnecessary stuff. And I started this because my mum kept everything. She liked ornaments, she liked lots of pictures on the wall, and she also had a lot of lovely presents from the children that she taught. So all of these things were greatly important to her. My dad had very few possessions and wasn't bothered about anything at all. So I lived in a house where there was essentially quite a lot of stuff. I mean, it wasn't hoarding and it wasn't cluttered, but it was by no means minimal. Now, what I learnt in that my mum would tidy a drawer, but she'd take everything out and then put it all back in. It was really funny. And then we began to understand between us that if those things kind of needed to be done, I liked doing them, where she never liked doing them. And I used to put the food shopping away, and I used to like to make the cupboards manageable. And she was really entertained by this. And the first time we ever really understood this, I had come back from a trip. We'd come back from a trip and we didn't have many holidays. Usually that was because of health and illness, but we had two trips in all of my time. We had one to France when I was 10 in the caravan, and we had one when I was 15 and we stayed. We didn't have a caravan then, but we came back and thank God we had those holidays because we didn't have any other ones in that conventional sense. So that last trip to France was really enormous in our psyches. Now, when we came back, I remember the whole of the front room. Lindsay Harris, hello, my darling. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm just talking about clutter, Lindsay, and stuff and energy. I'm just saying I really understood the importance of it when I came back from a holiday with my parents. And we only went on 2 holidays when I was little, both to France. Second one so I could practice my GCSE French because Dad was really diligent, bless him. And we came back, and you know when you sort of unload a car or you come back from holiday and like everything's all over the place. And my mum then really didn't want to unpack any of it, and she wanted to sit and read because all the papers had come through the door and do the post. And I remember when I was 15, I said to her, "Let me do it, Mummy. I like doing it." And she said, "Go on." And she almost said, "Knock yourself out, please do it." So I really understood then that I could put things away quickly, organised tidily, and I liked the feeling of peace when it was all done. And I liked the feeling of peace more after the work than I liked the comfort of not doing the work. And I am very much a pain avoider. I'm very risk averse. I don't seek pleasure. I don't need goals or accountability or motivating. I work hard all the time. But if there's something I can make better or a bit less bad, I know I'm very motivated. And in some ways, the more we know ourselves, the better we can navigate life. So this decluttering and energy and stuff thing really started to take hold of me when I was in my teens. Now, the other bit that was really funny was my mum would buy copious amounts of resources and school books for her children. So in our kitchen table, we had 4 big red boxes full of extra books that she'd take for the children, take for lesson plans, music books. She was playing the piano in assembly for them, running concerts. So she had a lot of resources, but I mean, it was spilling everywhere. And in the back of her car, she used to have lots of different pairs of shoes in the footwell so that she could choose the shoes when she got to work. She always drove in flat shoes. And I remember saying, Mummy, do you not just need 1 pair of shoes? And she's like, no, I need a few pairs of shoes. So the pair of us were polar opposites in this. And interestingly, she had become very attached to her stuff because when she went to university, her mum gave a lot of her stuff away. And I think she felt very hurt by this. So whenever we had little tensions about decluttering or I'd help her tidy out her wardrobes, I would try and remember that she felt that getting rid of things was disrespectful. So remember also when you're having a disagreement or a discussion with anybody that you love is that you know that they're coming from a place of equal good intention, but often they've had a very different experience from you. Sometimes it's a sad one. But the next big seminal moment about order and clutter and energy was I watched an Oprah show with a woman called Julie Morgenthau, and she was an expert in organising. And I'd been in that bedroom for about 5 or 6 weeks, very unwell. Unable to function hardly at all. The fact that I was dressed and actually on the bed, blanket over me, was a monumental achievement. And that morning I had really struggled to find some socks. My cupboards were not tidy. And I had spent all of my day's energy trying to find socks that matched. Now my best friend Elizabeth Wilson would say, wear odd socks, Beck. But obviously I hadn't understood that concept then. And I remember it was seminal that I saw this programme that said, clutter is zapping your energy. And then I went into hundreds and hundreds of people's homes when I was doing those services, and I saw how healthy people lived sometimes, and I saw people who had houses that you couldn't navigate through that had so much stuff. And more I correlated the fact that I seemed to think that if people had a lot of stuff in their house, there was often mold, there was often a lack of fresh air, and they often had falls because they fell over the stuff. So I became more and more obsessed with order and minimalism and not having stuff around that I could trip over or that would get on my nerves, or I couldn't find what I needed quickly, because all of that saved energy. And also calmness. I wanted to have a peaceful, calm home. I had a very unpeaceful life with so much illness, and that you come into a sanctuary. And that doesn't mean expensive stuff or furniture, because all of our furniture is pre-loved or second-hand, but it did mean that when I came in, things were calm and clear and there was a place for everything. Now, I am quite obsessive about it now and I love it. And Kev is very messy, bless him. He wrecks a lot of stuff. He's the best man on the planet, but he also keeps everything. So if I give him a card, he keeps the envelope where I've written Kev on. So we've had to navigate this a little bit because, you know, the things build up and we have a small bungalow. So I wanted to share 2 or 3 revelations that I think might help you, especially if you've got chronic condition, you're exhausted, there's something zapping your energy, you have pain, there are areas of your life that feel blocked. Think about the environment that you've created around you and what you can do to make that clearer and more ordered so that you have more energy. So here are some things. I absolutely love TV programmes that sort of sort people's houses out. My 2 favourite ones are Stacey Solomon's Sort Your Life Out in 7 Days and Nick Knowles' Big Life Transformation House thing on Channel 5. I could watch them forever. And obviously they have huge teams of people and huge resources. But we can all do one drawer at a time and make life easier. So, for example, the batteries, the plasters, the string, the glue, you know, I have a little box of things ready, organised, and I never need to look for where the batteries are because they're always in there. It's always there and it's labelled. Now, here's the thing, it's taken me years to get there, but it's been a hobby and a joy, and it has saved me so much energy. And I have a little bag that is in the front porch, and that's the charity shop bag, and whatever we don't need goes in that charity shop bag, and it's already out the house ready to go. I have a little jar where I put my pennies and my 2 pences and my 5 pences, and that goes to the hospice charity shop because they collect the jar. So there's a place for those little things that often mount up in our lives. And if you just order one little area of your life, you tidy out your purse, your coat pockets. One of my closest friends had my coat on a while ago, and they said, Becky, you've got all this kind of random junk in your pockets. And I said, no, there's gloves, there's bags for the dog, there's a dog treat, the keys go in the left-hand side, there's a face mask, and there's a pen. And I have those things in every outside pocket in all of my coats, because I'm never then caught short. There's tissues and there's, I used to have a little phone number thing that I put in my top pocket, like emergency numbers before we had mobile phones. So if you think about those things, that makes every time I put a coat on, saves me energy, just because I put in a packet of tissues and a mask. They're in every area, so I'm not scrabbling around for energy. And those programs also show us that we hang on to a lot of stuff we often don't even know we've had, and they clear energy. So one of the things that I keep seeing in those programs is that people have blocked doorways. So think about the energy in your body and in your life. Do you have doorways that you can't open fully, or there's stuff behind them, or that you don't use at all? Try and think about unblocking the doorways, or the windows, or the window sills, the way you can't get to places, to allow that energy to flow around your home. I found that seminal. And also things on the floor that you don't need, piles. I mean, our exercise bike would be just full of kevs. You have no idea. It's like a wardrobe, that's the word. But quietly, I make sure that there's only one towel on there. Do you see what I mean? And I make sure those things are maintained. So think about that. Think about doing just 5 minutes of decluttering. And how do you do that? Well, the easiest way is to just go around, pick up the mugs that are hanging around the house, pick up any rubbish. That's just a 5-minute little job that will save you energy. Is there a tiny area that you can tackle just for fun for about 5-10 minutes that would sort out where you keep your carrier bags, or the things that cause you irritation every time you can't find them? So for example, as we go out in our hall cupboard, I have a basket where I have my hat, woolly hat, and I have the scarf, and they're there all the time. I put them in, they go straight in the basket, and I'm never scrabbling around. Nothing gets dropped on the floor. I have a place for my shoes. I have clean shoes, trainers on the top. I have dirty trainers on the bottom. My handbag always goes in the same place. My handbag is organised. This sounds a bit extreme, but these things, when you haven't got much energy, save you gargantuan amounts. My handbag, my keys are always down this side, face mask in the front, my purse is in there, and then I have a little wallet that somebody made me, which is lovely, where I put in certain things that I need to have, so they're not all like thrashing around in my bag. My bag is contained within things. And I cannot tell you how many times Kevin Dinsdale loses his keys every morning. So every morning I say to him, wallet, watch, phone, badge, keys, ring, teeth. I could sing it, because that needs to make sure he has those things. I even put a little basket by the bedside so that he could put his watch and his key and his ring and his phone in. Never does it. So you can do the best laid plans, but I have peace when I do those things. Now, if you're thinking about energy as well, think about opening, obviously not in this kind of weather, but opening some doors, some windows. I had a friend who was a Reiki expert about energy medicine, and she said ring a bell or go into a corner of a room and clap, because it kind of changes the energy. I thought that was amazingly interesting. And also think about the goodness of what you can give away. How many things have you got that you perhaps don't need, don't fit you? Are you saving for a rainy day? It might be useful. I might fit into it again. I might need it later. Somebody else might need it, or it cost a lot. And there's that phrase, sunk costs, that people use in business and in big purchases, where we've spent all this money on it and it's not working, or we're not using it, but we'll get round to it sometimes. Sometimes you can throw money after bad and let the money sit there. So could you give it away to somebody who really needs it? Could you sell it? Could you Facebook Marketplace it? Could you recycle it? There are always ways that you can find to give that actually don't cost you very much and free up your space. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, they were really expensive clothes and people don't get anything for them in the charity shop. Well, they probably don't get as much as you paid. But remember, the grace of helping somebody who could not afford to go somewhere else can afford to go there. And there, but by the grace of God, you've had those expensive things sometimes. And somebody was really unpleasant about not giving stuff away, and and I just think you've had a lot of graciousness in your life. Reciprocate. It's our duty to reciprocate. And I use the phrase a lot, count your blessings, be the blessing. One of the easiest ways to be a blessing is to give and to donate. And the easiest way to do that is you're doing it to strangers and you're freeing up space in your home. So if you think about that, it might just help you in those kind of difficult decisions of should I keep it or not. You can also have an in-between box. I sometimes have a thing in the garage where I put things which I don't know if I should give away or not. And then in 6 months' time, if I still haven't used it, it goes to the charity shop. Usually I can be quite ruthless and say, no, that jumper, I can't mend it. I've had it for 10 years, it doesn't fit anymore. Somebody else would like it, you know, and those decisions are quite clear cut. I keep letters, I keep cards, I keep sentimental things because they're so precious to me. But I make sure I have those near me and I use them. And one of the lovely things I thought about, one of my goals for this year, is I'm going to photograph all those precious letters and I'm going to put them in some kind of book or folder so that A, I have a backup, but B, I can look at it and they're not just stuck in a box for later. Oh, you see, Kev thinks he's watching this if he texts me, still hasn't really understood that, bless him. So the other things I wanted to say was, when you're doing things, that first Oprah program I ever watched, this is my notes to tell you, there was a system about decluttering things and it was called Space, and it was sort everything out. So you empty a drawer and you just look at it all and you sort it into categories, and you purge it. So you get rid of the rubbish, the things that don't work, the things that shouldn't be there. So it's sorted, then it's purged. Then you assign it to a place. So nearly always in drawers, we've got things that shouldn't be where they are. You know, you've got a spare sock in the kitchen, that needs to go in the bedroom. And then when those things are purged, you have what you just need in that drawer. You then assign it to a container and you just like put it somewhere in a little box. In B&M's have amazing storage, but you can do it with boxes and things where you buy the fruit in. Often they're really good storage, that you keep your pens here, your pencils here, your bulldog clips there, your paper clips there. So that as soon as you pull that drawer out, the peace of seeing it all there and that you're not scrabbling around wasting energy. Sometimes, and this is really funny, because when things, Liv, darling, I'm talking about decluttering and energy. It's lovely to see you. I hope you're all, I don't know what the weather's like with you, because you're further north than we are. It's pretty grim, but I think it's improving a bit. I pray that it doesn't go below freezing for us all. And one of the things about the space message, so that you're sorting, you're purging, you're assigning, you're containerizing, then you equalize, you keep it up. And the interesting thing is that I've watched every decluttering expert there is. I've listened to every minimalist there is. If you like a lot of stuff around you, lovely. If you like a lot of visual stimulation, wonderful. But if you need a safe haven where you can move around comfortably, that's wonderful too. Kev once said to me that I would live in a white box with nothing in but one chair and a book, and I would have probably, but that's because I had a chaotic life for a long time. Now I can cope with visual stimulation. You know, I have more energy. And we have more furniture until we got the dog, obviously. So sometimes what Kev says to me, he says, I need a label on something. He said, because you just assume I know where things go. So bless him, Kev will just throw everything in and there's just no dealing with it. But occasionally we succeed because he will put his socks in this box and his, running shorts in that box. But, I've given up. There's the point. But I do clear up after him quite a bit. But I've made peace with the fact that he has a different perspective on things, so I control the areas in which I feel at peace. So sometimes you can put labels on things, and that's where your socks are, that that's where your t-shirts are. And this isn't extremes of Marie Kondo folding everything. This is just about making life simple, so you have more energy to do the things that are really important to you, and that you feel as well as you can whilst you can. And the last thing I wanted to say was, if you think the idea of, doing any of this is exhausting and terrible, and don't do it, it's fine. Save your energy. Do the things you want to do if you can navigate. But I've been into a lot of very poorly people's homes, and a lot of them have had falls and unnecessary trouble in their life because they've slipped over something because there was too much stuff on the floor. I'm all about the risk aversion. So if you can do something about potential hazards, then would that not be sensible? So I hope all of that helps a bit. I wanted to show you something which has been really precious, and I've had it on my to-do list forever. Obviously that's the back wall of the study, that's the door to the kitchen, but I'm just going to show you that other wall, which I look at all the time. And that picture, the black one, says, "You are my sunshine." And I just thought you'd like to see that. Catherine, it's lovely to see you. I'm talking about order and space and energy. This is the sunshine study. Elizabeth Wilson made that for me, which says, "You are my sunshine." And it's just gorgeous. It's beaded. And then this picture gives me great inspiration. Surround yourself with things that inspire you. Is that I first saw that picture in an art exhibition. It's a Paul Klee in the Sunday Times Culture magazine in 1994, I think, and I was just gripped by it. I was gripped by the journey, the colours, the darkness, the hope, the light. I don't know, it just filled my soul. And I was in no position to have any pictures or portraits or anything then, so I just cut out this tiny image from the Times magazine, and I had it on my bedroom wall, and I looked at it. And then that actually came from a skip outside somewhere I was doing research for my doctorate. And I remember thinking, somebody's throwing this out, and I went and asked them if it was okay. And the full circle moment of that was Dr. Rebecca found that in a skip while she was doing research for that doctorate. And then finally, the last picture is my lovely mum, and it's Mothering Sunday soon. And I just wanted to share her with you because she was radiant, and she had a lot of clutter, but I adored her. But here's the other thing is, I often say to clients, there's a bit of clutter in here, we'll just tidy it up a bit. We'll just tweak some of that thinking so that your thinking and your living are congruent. They are the same size and same shape, so that you're not thinking daft things that don't help you. You're not on alarm all the time. You're not on alert. You're not anxious all the time. We can do things to make your life calmer and better and teach you to think well. But sometimes you need to be surrounded by good energy. So I have a busy back wall that I hope, and my book's there. But I have my lovely mummy who's looking after me there, I hope and pray. And I have the adventure of that middle picture. And I have the picture that you are my sunshine. And I try and remember that, because the fundamental point of all that I do is try and help clients and readers see their great worth. You are magnificent, you're here, you're unique, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Never ever take that for granted. People would think that you're the bee's knees in this world and would want to be you. So make sure you value that enough. So remember that. Know your worth, protect it, share it, cherish it. Remember that. And some of that is how we think and how we surround ourselves. So I hope all of that helps. But don't think cluttered thoughts. Don't have messy thoughts. Have a tidy mind, a tidy heart, and a tidy home. And with tidiness comes order, and with order comes your offering. And when you offer more of you to the world, all of your courage, your grace, your joy, your glee, your struggles and your pain, and you are more valuable because of your pain and your struggles. Never ever forget that. You've been stretched out in this world, you come back to the centre, you've learnt those hard lessons, and it's time to be constructive, positive, do all that you can, look after you, look after those around you, and be joyful in the journey. So I hope all of that helps, my darling. Please be safe. Please do not slip. Go carefully. Make wise decisions where you can, and back up the people who, are around you in every possible way. So take care. God bless. The puppy's been immensely quiet. I'm going to go and see what she's trashed. But I hope you have a calm weekend. I hope you have enough rest. And if you're going back to work or you've had big transitions in life, I send you great luck, great love, and well done for being so brave. Take care. God bless. Be safe.